Welcome to the Show Day Podcast season preview for Genesis. Genesis is from Austin, Texas. They have made 6 straight semifinals appearances. This is now their 3rd season as a world-class core. 2017 was a pretty good show, and then 2018 came, and it was a bit of a struggle. Lacking show design-wise, really GE scores were down, which really just was a culmination of things that I'll talk about a little later. Genesis's best World Championship finish was 22nd back in 2015. 2019 schedule for Genesis. They're doing what the Cavaliers are doing. Kind of. Almost. Not really. They're starting out on the West Coast is basically what I'm trying to say. They start a little later. They start spring training a little bit later this year, so that kind of results in them starting a little later on tour. So instead of starting in the Midwest or the East or wherever they would choose to start, Genesis has decided that they are going to start the season on the West Coast. First show, June 28th, Coors at the Crest, San Diego in Vista, California. The following night, June 29th, Drum Corps at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. That event can be streamed live on Flow Marching. Be everybody's first look at Genesis. And if you don't have a Flow Marching account, I hope you see them because you won't see them. June 30th, Western Chorus Connection in San Bernardino, California. Again, what I said with them doing the same thing as the Cavaliers is because the Cavaliers go back to the Midwest. The Genesis then goes up to the Pacific Northwest and does that part of tour, Road DCI on July 3rd in Ashland, Oregon. Then they'll be at 3 shows in Washington over the coming week. July 9th, then they'll move to Idaho, then Utah, the Casper, Wyoming show on July 12th, and then round out this first part of tour July 13th with Drums Along the Rockies in Denver, another show that can be streamed live on Flow Marching. So that first part of the schedule, you don't really get to see them even if you have a Flow Marching account. The second part of the schedule, well, most of their shows, half of their shows are on Flow Marching. More than half, actually, if you count each different World Championship day. After Denver, so think Denver, July 13th, then the next show is DCI Central Texas in Belton on July 18th. So you got some solid rehearsal time, maybe add some stuff, change some things around in there. Then you've got your first competition with everybody together. You've got them going up against those cores that will be in that same area as them. Think maybe Music City, maybe Pacific Crest, Seattle Cascades, Jersey Surf. I mean, it all depends on where Genesis is, if they're up or if they're down. 3 more shows then before Atlanta, 1 in Lafayette, Louisiana, 1 in Dothan, Alabama, and 1 in Birmingham, Alabama. Then July 27th, they'll be in Atlanta for the DCI Southeastern Championship. They'll round out the month of July with these Summer Music Games of Southwest Virginia in Salem, Virginia. Then August 2nd, that's Friday night of DCI East, they'll be in Allentown for that event. August 4th, last show of the regular season before championships, DCI Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then the DCI World Championships, August 8th through the 10th in Indianapolis. The 2019 drum majors, or conductors in Genesis's case, for the Corps. Cameron Wilson, this is his 5th season as conductor for Genesis. He's currently studying political science and communication studies at St. Mary's University in San Antonio. And Francesca Ramirez, this is her 3rd season as conductor. She's a music education major at the University of North Texas and won the 2018 Friends of DCI Member Scholarship. Genesis's 2019 main staff is listed here. Starting at the top with Chris McGonigal, who is the executive director. He marched the Skyriders for 2 seasons, then founded Genesis in 2009 in Edinburgh, Texas. Joshua Gall is artistic director for the corps. Keith Pullen is music supervisor and brass creative designer. He is a composer and arranger for the marching arts and is an alumni of the Blue Devils and currently owns Keith Pullen Music. He writes for many groups all throughout different areas of the marching arts. Sean Glide is percussion and sound designer. Dave Marvin is percussion designer. Stuart Schulman, drill and visual designer. Matt Thompson is color guard design coordinator and also the color guard caption head. He performed 9 seasons of drum corps. Also, I guess 11 seasons if you count them all up, with Juxtaposition, the Winter Guard group. He won BOA class championships with Kennesaw Mountain High School. Now I'm getting into his time of being a designer. That's when he won the BOA class championships with Kennesaw Mountain as visual director, and is the current director of color guard at Magnolia West High School in Texas. Also, Thompson currently works with Spirit Winter Guard from Houston. Dan Bryan, he's front ensemble designer. Andy Grindle is brass caption head. Art Cano is associate brass caption head. This is his 10th season with Genesis. He's one of the co-founders of the corps. He marched at Revolution Drum and Bugle Corps and is now the head band director at Austin Middle School in Texas. OJ Reyes is associate color guard caption head. Remember, I said Matt Thompson is the color guard caption head. Reyes is the associate caption head. He teaches at Parasol High School in Texas. He's been with Genesis since 2013 and marched with the Revolution and Glassman. Frank Solis is visual caption head. He's one of the original performers of Genesis, currently lives in Austin, Texas as an aquatic engineer and pool builder. And Dylan Engel is percussion caption head. He went to Western Carolina University for a Science of Music Education bachelor's degree. He's a co-founder of Genesis as well, along with McGonigal and Cano. And Engel is now assistant band director at Tuscola High School in North Carolina and adjunct professor of percussion at Western Carolina University. Genesis's 2019 production is entitled From the Ground Up. This is an interesting concept. Really, it seems as though this is thinking, like, think of this from both, like, the plant perspective, per se, of, like, growing, but also from, like, different things becoming of what they are. Like, you see the city in the, in one of the triangles here. Just, think of different, guess you could say different concepts and different productions within the overall production this season. Genesis last year, tied for 24th in general effect, and that's not like tied with the core above them, tied with the core below them. 24th in the other two, in visual and in music. You've got to do better than that if you're Genesis. You are, they're being beat by open class scores. So I'd say if you, and obviously, world class isn't necessarily the best judgment, because if it was, you'd say, okay, the top 20 cores go to world class and the rest are an open. That's not how it works, though, due to the different funding and stuff that DCI provides to the cores, where you think Jersey Surf, Seattle Cascades. If DCI did not provide, let's say, the financial benefits, and not necessarily DCI, but also of those cores doing a nationwide tour, you would say maybe they want to go open class, but with financial benefits and stuff only going to those world-class corps, that is kind of where, that's kind of the reason why these corps stay where they are. Genesis, I personally think it was just a down year. There was just not really a great theme to that show. They played the show was called Retro Vertigo. They played the like kind of classic music and like rock music, and it was just wasn't there. Minimal costume design and all that. In order to contend, I'm not going to say you have to have props and you have to have amazing costumes, but in order to contend, you have to do other things well. You have to have a great drill design and execute the drill great. And then from a music design standpoint and from a music execution standpoint, you also have to have those things. So, really, that is the big thing for Genesis. If I had to set a goal for them, I like setting a goal for some of these cores that are kind of from like 12th on down, like say, this is where you guys should be. I'd say Genesis's goal should be that they are top 20 this year. Set your best finish ever. If you think about it, you take Orca Crusaders and then the Blue Devils B and then Vanguard Cadets out of it, they're already in 21st. So just kind of try to get that best finish ever, and I think it'll bring good things for Genesis. 2017, it was a great show design. That was exactly what they need. If they can bring that back this year, I think they're in for good stuff. If you bring what you brought last year, not sure what is exactly going to happen. If you combine the two together, that might actually provide somewhat of a mid-ground. No pun intended again. So, a few things. Make sure to visit my website, drumcorpscentral.weebly.com, for all the latest updates from the DCI and DCA summer tours. Scores, schedules, leaderboards, and more can all be found at my own personal website about all things drum corps. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DrumCorpsGeek, and subscribe to the Show Day podcast on YouTube, where, again, this podcast and more will be posted. So, last thing, if you have any questions or comments or want to offer your input into what I provided with this podcast, be greatly appreciated. Or if you just want to say, like, you know something about the show that maybe I didn't mention, sure, go ahead and do that. I always love to hear from my viewers in what they really think and what, and if they can offer anything to add to these podcasts. So if you want to leave a comment in YouTube or message me or at me on Twitter, whatever, it's all great. So thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.